Before the pyramids, before any empire existed, one king unified a civilization that would change the world forever. Make sure to like and subscribe for more legendary stories of the pharaohs. Over 5,000 years ago, long before the Great Pyramids pierced the sky, the land we now know as Egypt was a realm divided. Two distinct kingdoms, born from the lifeblood of the Nile River, existed in a delicate, often hostile, balance. In the south, nestled among the sun-scorched cliffs and narrow valleys, was Upper Egypt, symbolized by the white crown and the lotus flower. Its people were hardy, tied to the traditions of the desert and the river's annual flood. To the north, where the Nile fanned out into a lush, green delta before meeting the Mediterranean Sea, lay Lower Egypt. This was the land of the Red Crown and the papyrus reed, a realm of fertile marshes and bustling trade. For centuries, these two lands, though sharing a river and a common cultural heritage, were separate entities, their destinies seemingly forever apart. Rival chieftains and petty kings vied for control over precious resources and trade routes. The air was thick with tension, a constant simmer of conflict that prevented a greater civilization from being born. It was a world waiting for a leader, a visionary with the strength and ambition to forge one nation from two. Out of this fractured landscape, a figure of legend emerged from the south. His name was Narmer. We know little of his early life, his story pieced together from fragments of stone and whispers of time. He was likely a king from the southern city of Hierakonpolis, a center of power and worship for the falcon god Horus. This was a time of strong, ambitious rulers in Upper Egypt, each pushing the boundaries of their influence northward. Narmer was not just another chieftain, he was a man of destiny. He inherited a legacy of southern expansion, but he possessed a vision grander than any of his predecessors. He saw not two lands, but one. He understood that the true power of the Nile could only be unleashed if its entire length was united under a single ruler. Fueled by a combination of military prowess, strategic genius, and perhaps a profound belief in his divine right to rule, Narmer began the final, decisive campaign to bring the north under his control. He was a warrior king, leading his armies into the heart of the delta, determined to end the age of division and begin a new era. His rise was not just a conquest, it was the dawn of history's first great nation-state. The most powerful testament to Narmer's achievement is a single, extraordinary artifact, the Narmer Palette. Discovered in Hierakonpolis, this ceremonial slate, carved over 5,000 years ago, is one of the most important archaeological finds in history. It is, in essence, the birth certificate of ancient Egypt. On one side, we see Narmer, larger than life, wearing the tall, conical white crown of Upper Egypt. He is depicted in a classic pose of pharaonic power, his mace raised high, ready to strike a kneeling enemy from the northern delta marshes. Above the captive, the god Horus, as a falcon, holds a rope tied to a human head rising from papyrus reeds, symbolizing the subjugation of Lower Egypt. This is a raw, brutal depiction of conquest. But flip the palette over, and the story changes. Here, we see Narmer in a victory procession. He is now wearing the red crown of Lower Egypt, signifying his control over the newly conquered lands. Further down, two long-necked mythical creatures, called serpopards, intertwine their necks, held in check by handlers. This elegant, symmetrical image is a powerful metaphor for the bringing together of two opposing forces into a harmonious whole, the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. The Narmer Palette isn't just art, it's a political manifesto written in stone, declaring the end of chaos and the beginning of order under one king. To visually represent his new, unified kingdom, Narmer created one of the most enduring symbols of royal power the world has ever known, the double crown, or the pshen. This ingenious crown was a physical fusion of the two old crowns. It combined the white hedget of the south with the red deshret of the north, fitting one inside the other. When Narmer, or any pharaoh after him, wore the pshen, they were making a profound statement. They were not a king of the south who had conquered the north, or vice versa. They were the king of the two lands. The crown symbolized balance, totality, and the divine authority to rule over the entire realm of Egypt. It was a constant reminder to the people, from the southern cataracts to the northern sea, that they were now one nation, under one God-King. This symbol of unity was so potent that it would be worn by every pharaoh for the next 3,000 years, a direct legacy of Narmer's political genius. A unified kingdom needed a new, unified capital. Narmer's strategic brilliance shone once again in his choice of location. He founded a new city right at the apex of the Nile Delta, the very border where Upper and Lower Egypt met. This city was named Memphis. Its location was a masterstroke. Positioned at this natural junction, it was the perfect administrative and political center to govern both the north and the south. It was a neutral ground, belonging to neither of the old kingdoms, but to the new, united Egypt. From Memphis, the king could control the agricultural wealth of the delta and the trade routes flowing up from the south. Legend says the city was protected by a great white wall, earning it the name Enebhej, or the White Walls. For over 1,000 years, Memphis would remain the vibrant heart of Egypt, a bustling metropolis of temples, palaces, and workshops. By establishing this new capital, Narmer physically cemented the unification he had achieved on the battlefield. He didn't just conquer a land, he built its center of gravity. With the establishment of a new capital and the unification of the two lands, Narmer became the first king of a new royal line. He is credited with founding the First Dynasty of ancient Egypt, ushering in what historians call the early dynastic period. This wasn't just a change in leadership, it was the beginning of a system that would define Egypt for millennia. The concept of dynastic succession, of power passing from father to son, was solidified. This brought unprecedented stability to the Nile Valley. The pharaoh was now seen as more than just a powerful king, he was a living god on earth, the earthly embodiment of Horus. This divine kingship became the central pillar of Egyptian society, politics, and religion. Narmer's reign marked the transition from a prehistoric collection of chiefdoms to a structured, historical state with a clear line of authority. He wasn't just a conqueror, he was the first in a long and broken chain of pharaohs who would shape the destiny of the ancient world. He created the very institution of the pharaoh. The unification under Narmer sent ripples through every aspect of Egyptian life. With political stability came an explosion of cultural and technological innovation. Freed from constant internal conflict, the resources and manpower of the entire nation could be directed towards common goals. Standardized system of writing hieroglyphs developed rapidly, evolving from simple labels to a complex script capable of recording history, religion, and administration. This was crucial for managing the now vast kingdom. Art and architecture became more monumental, reflecting the power and divinity of the pharaoh. Society became more stratified, with the pharaoh at the top, followed by a growing class of priests, scribes, and officials needed to run the state. For the common person, life was now governed by a distant, divine ruler in Memphis, rather than a local chieftain. They paid taxes to a central authority and could be conscripted for national building projects. While their daily lives were still tied to the rhythm of the Nile's flood, they now shared a common identity as Egyptians, subjects of a single, mighty kingdom. King Narmer's legacy is, quite simply, Egypt itself. He was the architect of a civilization that would last for 3 millennia, a period of cultural continuity unmatched in human history. Every pharaoh who followed, from Khufu who built the Great Pyramid, to Hatshepsut the great female king, to Ramesses the Great who fought the Hittites, was walking in Narmer's footsteps. They all wore his double crown and ruled from the foundation he had built. The unification he achieved created the political and economic stability necessary for the monumental achievements of the Old Kingdom, including the pyramids of Giza. He laid the ideological groundwork for divine kingship, which was the engine of Egyptian society. Without Narmer's conquest and vision, the story of ancient Egypt as we know it might never have happened. He took a divided land and forged it into the world's first nation-state, a superpower of the ancient world whose art, religion, and architecture continue to fascinate and inspire us to this day. Before the pyramids, before the empires, there was Narmer, the king who made Egypt one. Thank you for joining us on this journey back to the dawn of Egypt. If you enjoyed this story, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more chronicles from the land of the pharaohs.